Hi guys, I'm back with another video. This time I'm gonna talk about original thinking and being a energy vampire in essence. So, and what they have to do with each other. Yeah. So basically, right, if you are somebody who has trouble with being an original thinker, being an original being within your individuality and being able to express that. Obviously, there's levels to it, but I'll get into that later. But in terms of you being your individual self, regardless as to what anybody else has to say about it, if you have issues when it comes to that, then you most likely fall into the category of being a people pleaser because you're trying to compensate for the fact that you don't necessarily like all the parts of yourself, and you compensate with that by basically performing for other people, performing for people outside of yourself, so that you can get some form of gratification, some form of acceptance, or maybe feel some sense of belonging. Now, the issue with that is that you're doing it based on false grounds. You're doing it based on deception, and esoterically, spiritually, you're actually siphoning energy from people who who not necessarily that they have your best interests or they don't. Whichever the case is, you're siphoning energy from people that are not deserving of you siphoning energy from. And it all stems from a place of you feeling that you cannot accept yourself. And the issue with that is once you cannot accept who you are, and I'm talking, all parts of you, all sides of you, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. If you can't accept that these things can occur in your life, or that this particular reflection of you is being expressed, then it leads into you being a very dependent individual, and you can never really, the words dependent and individual shouldn't really come together, because being an individual is being independent. It is making use of you yourself as a one, as a whole. And being dependent means that you aren't whole. It means that you have to rely on somebody else in order for you to get what you need or get what you want. So naturally, those two is like a oxymoron within itself. And if you have issues with this is how you can become a vampire. You're just siphoning other people's energy for your own self-worth in order to fill the cup that you couldn't fill for yourself. you know it's not necessarily hard for people to fall into this category, because a lot of us either have in our life, or we still do now, or it's something that we're working on. And so, you know a lot of the time society will teach you this is the way to be, and this is how you should be when you're this age, and this is what you're meant to be doing when you're this age, and so on and so forth. And it's not just society that perpetuates this. This is a program that's quite deeply embedded from when you're young for a lot of us, and a lot of people are still struggling at their big age to get out of that form of programming, because it's become so embedded that they literally don't see life any other way other than to be a dependent individual. And in order to be an original thinker, they actually feel so far removed from it, because it's so far removed from what they see as their reality, that they even go as far as to ridicule or shun people who do think originally, who do express themselves originally, and they have no qualms about it. Um, you don't necessarily have to like what the person is saying, but there should be a respect there, that what, this person has the guts, they have the confidence, and they have the self assurance and security to go out there and put themselves out there for the world to see, and not give a fuck about what happens, as a consequence. When you're a dependent individual, all you think about is the consequences of your thoughts or your actions. Um, and you don't leave yourself space to allow that original thought or feeling to sustain itself. Instead, you put all these other ideas and concepts onto it, making it heavier, and you're almost in the spiritual realm. It's like you're pushing that thought down rather than letting it rise, and actually become something that maybe manifests into your life externally. And the more you push those thoughts away and replace them with ones of, oh, but I'm trying to consider how this person feels and how that person thinks and what they're gonna, and are they gonna ridicule me, and am I gonna be embarrassed by this, and am I gonna lose followers, and do you know what I mean? All of that stuff, right? The more you sit there and consider that, you might build yourself a following, but the minute you step out of line of the character that you've formed, the light that you've shown, the minute you step out of that, it's all going to come crashing down, because you've led people to believe that you are this type of person when you're actually not that type of person. So it is really important for you to build that independence, that spiritual individual strength, and that spaceship in order for you to sustain yourself comfortably with confidence and self assurity, that regardless as to what happens, based on you being who you want to be, you're going to be okay with it. People, the most original thinkers on this planet, yeah, get the most hate. Why? Because they dare to be themselves when others couldn't even imagine being themselves. But they also get the most respect. They also get the most love. They also make their dreams come true a lot quicker. Why? Because they are expressing who they truly are. They're not hiding who they are. They're not trying to siphon the energy and become energy vampires for other people. They're not, there's no pretense. You can hate them if you want, but trust me, they're going to get loved by somebody else, and not just somebody else, but the other spirits who aren't here in physical bodies, that are out here helping people, who are upon who are sorry, who are unapologetically themselves. It's all like, it's all really simple, but so much programming has been deeply embedded in people for them to not even realize that the thing that there's no self-help book, there's no advice book, there's no spirituality book, there's no Bible, there's no reading that's going to help you um truly express who you are. Those are all things, those are all concepts, they're all ideas outside of yourself, which can help you to maybe tweak certain things about what you're doing on your life journey. But is it really going to transform yourself internally? Because that's the transformation that you need. That's where transformation even stems from. That's where your spirit even gets the idea to transform, and then it manifests in the physical realm. So it's like, make sure that you're not getting caught up in all these trends and all these fads and all these cultures, because culture is a cult. Like, and not all, I'm not trying to say that a cult is inherently bad or good or negative or positive. It's both. Like, it's all sides of the spectrum. But you have to understand that, a cult is a following. It is a trend of some sorts based on certain religious beliefs or faithful faithful morals or concepts or codes. And you just need to know what you're getting yourself into. Like, don't just subscribe to anything just because other people are doing it, or because you don't know how to think about it, and so you're going to wait for somebody else to tell you how to think before you think about it. That's some lostness. That's lostness. That's blind leading the blind, because you don't even know if that's what's right for you. And how it works out is, the more you follow that concept, or the more you follow that idea, you're going to end up crashing and burning, because your spirit will realize that this is not what you actually needed, because you were just blinded by the lights at that time. So it's like, make sure you're getting yourself in a space where you put time towards um catering to your original thoughts, catering to your original feelings, um not giving in so quickly or being so weak-minded to give in to the thoughts of others and take on those thoughts as if they're your own, because that's not yours. Like I said, that's an energy vampire. Even people pleasers as well, take time to do the things that you want to do, even if it goes against the grain of what other people have seen you do in the past. You're allowed to change. You are complex, as you're as complex as every other individual. We all have our own life experiences. We all have our own life highs and lows. So if people see that other side of you, then that's it. Like, they will adjust. Do you know what I mean? People can adapt to other people very quickly. They just want to know that you're being your authentic self. um and they'll fuck with it regardless. So never be scared to not people please. Make sure you're doing your own thing. And you know yes, you can make yourself a part of other things, but let that also be an authentic thing. Don't just be part of it because it seems cool to be part of at the time. Because again, lostness, blind leading the blind. You don't want that for yourself anymore. So make them changes. Start making the changes now. um because age isn't necessarily anything, but you don't want to be living your whole life being um sorry, you don't want to live your whole life being somebody else's puppet or somebody else's dancing monkey. At least be at least let it be your circus, is what I'm trying to say. But hey, disclaimer, I'm not saying manipulate people. I'm just saying, like, don't be the star of somebody else's show. And that's it.